Hi, hello, and welcome, friends. I hope you're doing good and feeling good. My name is FadedAyeeelien here on YouTube, and today is Thursday. I'm not sure when I'm uploading this, but for me, today is Thursday, which means it's my favorite day of the week because it's DnD day. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and get ready for the day, do our makeup, and then I'm going to show you what I pack in my DnD bag. That being said, I am a beginner, starter, noob, if you will, to the world of D&D, but I'm super excited. So I'm gonna kind of show you the basic stuff you may or may not need for D&D as we do our makeup and get ready for the day. That being said, I think I'm feeling more of the fun color vibes, so I've brought out all of the colorful palettes. I like to do my makeup on the floor. I don't know why. I've kind of always done my makeup on the floor. It's just like a comforting thing for me. So we're gonna go ahead and continue that routine. I'm gonna go ahead and time lapse us so you don't have to sit through the full 45 to 50 minute get ready with me session, and we can get to all the fun stuff of the D&D. So let's go. So the first thing I do is I use sunscreen and then my Maylee Skin kind of primer, and I'll put that all throughout my face because the sun out here is intense, as well as a little bit of chapstick. And then I start with my eyebrows. Those are honestly the easiest part of my makeup routine. It's always been the quickest part, but now I start to fill it in purple to match my half and half little split hair. And then I add a little bit of black eyeshadow to the ends. I like to carve my eyebrows out with a little bit of foundation and then put that on my eyelids and blend it through. And then I usually start with setting powders, so then I'll go ahead and set the face so that it doesn't move throughout the day, and I like to use AOA powder. I tend to use drugstore makeup brands because whatever works, right? I also am going to put a little blush on my nose, contour that, and then I kind of want to focus on the fun colors today because I've been feeling it in the pastel era. So I use the James Charles palette and the Morphe palette. I don't really buy from either anymore, but these are palettes that I've had since like high school. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend out the mint green on top, a little bit of purple, and continue all of our fun routine. That being said, I've noticed as I've started to kind of settle back into myself that I really like color expression. Not surprising, but I really like to put, I don't know, just a bunch of colors on my face and have fun that way. So I take the purple, bring that down, do a little bit of shimmer in the corners, and then I eventually start to go in with a little bit of eyeliner after I set the face. I really like to set the base and then set the face again. Going in with my eyeliner, I like to use Better Than Sex mascara because it does not move. Same with their eyeliner, so I'm just going to slap both of those on, and then we are basically done. I'm going to add a little bit of lipstick because your girl is goth and I never grew out of my emo phase. So chapstick and then a little bit of black eyeshadow with my finger and smidge that through. Bada bing, bada boom. All we gotta do is add our earrings, flip my hair, and then we're good. Okay friends, now that we've gotten ready for our D&D session with our makeup, it's time to pack our D&D bag. That being said, like I said, I'm still very new into the world of D&D, so these are all kind of like the basic things you may or may not need. That being said, first things first, you're gonna want a backpack. I don't like carrying all of my D&D stuff around, so it's a lot easier if you just have a bag. I use my Jansport I've had since high school. Don't really need anything extravagant. That being said, moving on to one of the cooler facets and one of the facets I'm most excited to show you. This, my friends, is the D&D binder. So typically in my D&D binder, I'm going to keep my D&D player's handbook, so I'm able to kind of keep track of the rules as I'm still very new to D&D, and I'm kind of learning what kind of dice I require for what types of attack, things like that. So within our D&D binder here, one of the first things we're going to have is the player's handbook. You can get a copy of it for like $60. That being said, I just kind of went to the classic route and just printed them off. So that being said, you may notice I do have these kind of labeled. So I am actually currently a ranger, and I'm not very familiar with a lot of the ranger spells, so I do have everything kind of sorted out by weapons, ranger nissuses, ranger spells, and then spell descriptions so that I can keep better track. Also have my bag of dice, so let's talk about it. So another thing that you're going to notice in our D&D bag is my bag of dice. That being said, I do believe you need about 10 dice. I'm going to go ahead and list the ones that are required to play the game. That being said, my dice are actually, this is my first set, so I've been told you can have many sets of dice, and I probably will become a future dice collector. I definitely see that happening in the cards. These are super freaking cool though. Kind of pre-purple hair actually. I ended up getting a bunch of these really cool galaxy looking dice. Look at how portrait. They're so cool. And this one's got gold on it. So I'm gonna take you guys to the shop where I actually picked out these die, and we are going to play a round of D&D today. So I have 2 D20s. We have a D4, D6, we have percent dice, and a bunch of others that I can't remember, so we're gonna list those. I've dropped my dice. I've dropped my dice again. Something else that I have is index cards. If I have any questions as we continue the game, I kind of like to write them down so I can ask the Dungeon Master and see if we can sort anything out. Another thing that you're going to need, especially if you're a beginner like me, is the importance of your character chart. So these can get quite intimidating. Don't worry though, it's okay. I have been watching a lot of D&D YouTubers. I'm gonna go ahead and list some off to the side here for the ones that I've been watching, just so you can kind of better understand the game. So I have our Dungeons and Dragons character chart as well as my own character's background. And what you're gonna want to do is, with your character background, you kind of have your backstory, why they're an adventurer, and what started their journey, essentially. For example, my current character is named Drea. She is a ranger fairy, and she's looking for her lost Tressum. If you don't know what a Tressum is, it's really cool. I ended up looking up a lot of D&D creatures, and Tressums are actually winged cats. So I was like, how can I incorporate Gizmo into the world of D&D? So Drea is looking for her lost Tressum named Gizmora. So just for example, and it's all included in our character backstory. That being said, you do want to give your backstory sheet to your dungeon master so that they can better understand your character and also integrate a lot of the really cool kind of storytelling and kind of darker secrets of your character within the realms of D&D, which I find to be really cool. So today I'm going to give our character backstory to our dungeon master and see what they can cook up. I wouldn't look. So I recommend just getting a new blank little notebook because you're going to want to keep track of your campaign. Chances are you're going to have a lot going on in those 4-hour sessions, and it might be too much for you to remember every week. At least it is for me, and I am a chronic note taker, so I'll just show you an example. So this is when we just started our campaign. I take notes on each day that we kind of work and where our progress is for our characters. So right now, for example, our characters are kind of in a wizard tower, so I've kind of had to write down each level and keep track of it a little bit better. I highly recommend getting a notebook just so you can kind of keep track of everything going on in your campaign. That being said, all of these things, our dice, our notebook, our character background, as well as our character sheet and our handbook, are all going to be folded up and neatly into our D&D binder so that I can kind of keep better track of things. That being said, that's not the only thing that I take to our D&D sessions, so I kind of want to dive a little bit further into what I put in my D&D backpack. Okay, before I start, this one is totally not required, but if you are more of a visual person like I am, I do highly recommend you maybe getting into this because it's also a really fun little crafty side project. But I do have a minifigure, so this also really helps with putting our characters on the visual map, being able to see where our characters are, what they might be encountering, just gets better visualization. So this is Drea post glue repair. That being said, I am going to talk about the container she's in as well, because I do want to talk about that. But she's super, super tiny, you guys. She is so pretty. I love her. I'm going to try to do a video pan in so you can see all of her details, but she's super, super small. So this is Drea. And my minifigure actually sits in a little carrying case. You don't have to have a carrying case, however, the first vlog kind of consisted of us accidentally breaking our minifigure, so like high-key recommend some kind of case to protect it. That being said, one of our really, really cool DnD friends actually 3D prints and 3D printed this really, really cool minifigure case, and it has a little divot on the inside. So you can just place your figure gently at the center and then close the case. I highly recommend, if you're going to get a minifigure, please get some kind of case if you're accident prone like me. It helps a lot. It goes a million leaps and bounds. So carrying case and minifigure in tow. Next, I'm going to talk about a little bit of the bonus goodies that I like to pack for my D&D sessions, just so it's a little more comfortable and a little bit more of a chill, relaxed time. So the next thing I take is my wallet, because chances are there's going to be some really, really cool dice sets that I'm probably going to want, or some kind of really cool minifigure for a future character campaign. So I do take my wallet just in case I see something fun. And the final, arguably most important step to a good D&D campaign, the snacks. So I do like to nibble as we do our D&D campaigns. So today I'm bringing some fruit snacks and some chip snacks, just in case we get a little peckish as we start destroying some really cool monsters. Also, bonus faded alien clip. I have been recently, with trying to quit smoking, trying to find different ways to substantiate those cravings. I don't know if this is like actually recommended, but this is something I've been doing. Flavored water has actually been really, really helping me with getting those like little occasional flavor hits as I'm like, you know, trying to stop vaping and smoking. That's been going really well, by the way. I've been put on to these little packets. These are called the Crystal Light Prickly Pear Lemonade. I have been really, really liking these. So just a little Faded Alien side recommendation here. Your girl almost forgot the most important part. So for any D&D session, you're gonna want a pencil. Forgot to tell you that. Okay, now that we have our pencil with everything, let's go ahead and pack.
Okay, Audio Alien here. I just wanted to show you a visual of what all of the equipment looks like before we go ahead and load it into the backpack and get started on our D&D session. So I know it's a lot of stuff on the list, but it's not a lot, if that makes sense. And then this is the next clip of what it looks like when it's actually loaded up and ready to go to our session. So everything is nice and evenly packed and put away. Now we're ready to go.
Okay, friends, with our D&D backpack in tow, backpack in tow, we're gonna head out to the D&D location. Yeah, I do also have bonus footage of Savara drinking water, so I'll also include that clip, because I don't think a lot of people know how snakes drink, and it's kind of silly. So, yeah. Enjoy these animal clips as we head to the shop. Before we go anywhere, we say bye to Gizmo. I will be back. We're gonna defeat some dragons. Probably not some dragons, as I am only a level 2 ranger, but you know, it's the hope. Thank you so much for watching today's vlog, friends. I hope maybe you learned something about D&D through it. It was really, really fun. I cannot wait to take you guys on future adventures. Who knows, I might do a full D&D campaign vlog as far as the like actual session goes. We'll see how the other teammates feel about that. I just want to make sure everyone's comfortable before we do that. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on this adventure. And if you want to see my activities and shenanigans live, be sure to check out my
Twitch at Faded Alien, and I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for our activities, being sculpting, painting, and all of our things in between, as well as our Thursday festivities, which is more of our cryptid corner and our dino deep dives. I highly implore you to come through if that at all intrigues you. And our Saturday family shenanigans where we hang out with the pets and really do whatever I feel like. That being said, I do have a goal for 2026 of trying to reach Twitch affiliate, so it would mean so much to me if you guys would come through and check out the channel. If you want to take home any of the Faded Alien merch that you might see through any of our crafts, I do have a fourth wall for all of our wearable merch, so all of our t-shirts as well as totes and hoodies. I also have a Printful for all of our posters and our canvases, so more of our home decor type of merch, and all of your support means the world. Thank you so much for your patience, you guys, as I start to pour out these videos. It does take a bit of time for me to produce these videos. It does take me a minute and a half to edit. I'm starting to get in a little bit of a better swing of it, but I do apologize for being a little bit late with the videos. But that being said, thank you so much for hanging out, you guys. Every comment, every interaction with the channel means so much. So if you've learned anything or if you've enjoyed this video at all, liking, following, commenting, and interacting with the channel in any way helps out so much. I cannot wait to see what project we get into next. I will see you very
Remember, you guys, to stay safe, stay positive, and stay creative. I will see you very soon. I'll see you later. Bye, friends.